Hello, welcome to the Dr. Selma B Show. This is a safe space for us to have powerful discussions about our personal growth and how we find our purpose, passion, and always how to turn the corners of life. Did you catch our last episode on seasons of life or putting an end to the imposter syndrome? As I reflected on our journey together as warriors so far, I want to always stay green. And for me, that means that I want to grow with you because the other option is that I'm ripe and maybe will soon rot. As I consider the vision for the Dr. Selma B Show and this new season we are in, I want to give some attention to our collective energy. Specifically, what happens when individuals come together in the workplace, in teams, in groups, and as a community. First, to my eminent family, love you for your continued support. If this is your first time, sit back and get comfy. To my YouTube viewers, be sure to click the subscribe button and also turn on the notifications by clicking the bell and choosing all so that you never miss out on our Legacy Ed News, community conversations with leaders, and new episodes of the Dr. Selma B Show. Thank you for showing Dr. B some love. I have owned my own business for more than a decade. I was recently spotlighted in Crane's Business, where I had the opportunity to tell my story as an MWBE owner and the failure of the city to ensure fair contract opportunities for business owners of color and for other MWBEs. As I thought about why I'm still here, the answer is simple. I have never gone at it alone. I have and continue to work to build a team who are not in it with me because of the money, but because of their ownership of the vision of making our schools a place of passion and purpose. And also, they get to have a space to be continuously creative. For today's show, I want to talk about teams, teamwork, and beloved, I'm going to have an honest conversation about why we are failing in the workplace, in our schools, and organizations to build innovative teams. Where do I start? First, I want to start with imagining children on the playground. That's right. If you ever have a moment to sit and listen to children play, sooner or later, one of the little people will shout out, "That's not fair." Why? It says that even a small child has an inner voice that speaks to right and wrong, and there is an inner passion for justice that rests in us all. Yet, we don't see that sense of morality playing out in the workplace, and sadly, it is not happening in our communities and on a broader scale within our nations. The work environment before COVID was toxic, and we're now seeing a shortage of workers. For example, American Airlines just canceled hundreds of flights because they noted it was bad weather, but they also had a shortage of staff. What's the hidden message? Why are people choosing to stay home? Beloved, people don't want to go back to an environment where they're making more on unemployment than a living wage. In other words, they don't want to go back to a culture of work where they feel devalued and where the teamwork doesn't make the dream work. In reality, environments that lack a moral compass of fairness. We can't build successful teams in our schools, workplace, government agencies, businesses, hospitals, and organizations if there is no passion for fairness, trust, and treating people like people rather than widgets and paper. Why is it so difficult to build teams? When you hear the word team, your mental model is usually your favorite sports team. We love sports. because we get to see fairness play out before our eyes, and we get to see the evidence of teamwork. We spend billions and billions of dollars on sports, and we know when the Giants come out to play on Sunday, they will always have a head coach. But guess what? They have, and as well as the other top teams, have at least 20 coaches. One coach for every 4 to 5 players. They got a defensive coach, an offensive coach, special teams, and even a running back coach. Are you serious? Yet, in our schools, our leaders are stretched thin. And if they have a designated coach, that one coach is working across all subject areas and busy doing all the testing and administrative stuff that is pushed on them. They don't get to do the work of coaching. When we compare that sports models to our schools and our workplace, the truth is there is no deep investment in developing teams within our places of work, our agencies, and our community. As a company, we're struggling to shift that mindset because we coach teachers and work to develop teams, and it is a struggle to get the resources to make that possible. Beloved, I'm not only talking about financial resources. It is also the protected space and time needed to fundamentally shift mindsets. That's right, mindsets, where our teachers see that they are the light and recognize their roles as leaders in the classroom, and then equipping them with the skills to create a safe space with their peers, and then in turn in their classrooms to work to develop a community within their classroom that hones student leadership and the voice and confidence of students. I want to talk a moment about pulling yourself up by the bootstrap. The second reason why we fail at building teams is that we lose sight of the team and team building and only focus on champions. Stop spreading the lie about individuals who pull themselves up by the bootstrap. No one gets to the top alone. And you are here because of the work of others in the past who did the work, invested in the future, and bravely did so that you and I can be here in this moment. We must also stop this myth because it gives birth to an even bigger monster with a huge head. I call it the leader ego monster. Our teams are failing when we have leaders with egos who believe that he is the one and only one. And I said he because most likely it is a he, that cowboy CEO model. And the research also tells us that when women assume leadership positions, they often take on the male persona to fit into the organization. The other reasons why teams fail is the lack of an inspiring and worthy goal. If you get up every day and only reach for low-lying fruit, why bother? There's no fun in that. You have to want to better our community and help each person and see how important your role is to get into that big and inspiring goal. Before I get to my 5 best practices for building a successful team, I also want to address that the toxic culture that kills teams come from quick fixes and denigrating research. When leaders realize that their organizational culture is stagnant and failing individuals as well as teams, they hear about a method that someone else tried, or they read the abstract of a book, and they are quick to say, we're going to implement that method. But they don't take the time to learn the method, figure out the conditions for success, introduce it properly to team leaders and to team members. And then they're often never open to feedback. Then they blame the individual members of the organization for not being risk takers and not wanting change. An example of some of the quick fixes are new evaluation metrics and tools that are not authentic and really being used in a punitive manner. I hear this time and time again from family members and friends and those who I coach and mentor. When they get an end of the year evaluation that is just brutal because someone in the organization decides no one can get a rating of 4. Really? If someone is doing the work and has been highly effective for 25 years, then why all of a sudden should you just decide that you're going to rate that person low because you don't want to engage in a meaningful conversation and get meaningful feedback? That devalues the team spirit and also the individual's willingness to really work towards that goal. What are my 10 best practices for building a successful and innovative team? First, everyone on the team must know their role. Each person deserves to get the support needed to learn how and grow in their role. Play your position, and that doesn't mean getting stuck in a role, but successful teams have teammates who take their role seriously. Do your job. If you don't craft and hone your skills, then no one will pass the baton to you. And when individuals lose confidence in their teammates, the whole team will suffer. Second, don't cling to an agenda, beloved. Know your job, but if you cling to an agenda, that means you already know the way. Then why are we working as a team? The entire goal of teamwork is to come together to accomplish big dreams. And if you already know the way, then that is not a dream. Third, the price is the price. I have found that there are some individuals who always want credit, but never want to put in the work. Successful teams have individuals who are willing to pay the price for success. No matter your role, you have to be willing to give generously. Most importantly, the price must be paid by everyone. I'll say that again. The price must be paid for everyone. Sadly, in our workplace, the salaries of CEOs are outrageous. For example, in 2018, the CEO of Walmart was awarded over $22 million, while the median salary for employees of Walmart was less than $20,000. When I started talking about fairness and the shortage of workers, when people opt out, they're saying that they realize that there are individuals on the team that are not giving up anything, but only want the credit. Best practice number 4, don't ignore the sour grapes. Once again, I chose this topic because it's about relationships with ourselves and others. We have to pull together to change our lives for the better and come together to make our dreams come true. Beloved, we would all like to think that people get along easily on that playground called life. However, that's not true. If you ignore hurt and bad feelings, they only compound, lead to anger, rejection, and individuals shut down. I find that the culture of work is that leaders often bully individuals, use ratings, evaluations, rhetoric, and all of that rather than addressing the issue that is hurting a person and in turn stagnating the work of a team. Articulate our shared values. You can have the same goals, but you must have the shared values. Values inform your decisions, and the decisions range from how you spend your resources to what keeps you burning the midnight oil. And beloved, the most important shared value is kindness. Kindness is a currency. You have to treat individuals with care and respect and how they want to be treated. Let's talk about best practice number 6, develop voice. Often there are members of the team who are doing great work. However, They worry about what other members of the group might say. They don't want to be the show off, and in turn, they end up hiding their light. Members of the group need direct feedback. Let them know that they are role models for others and that the group needs individuals who want to share their expertise and individuals learn from other experts. Check out my episode on voice where I talk about personal leadership. Number 7, promote and truly value diversity. The workplace is now multi-generational. We have individuals who represent different races, cultural, and linguistic backgrounds. A friend recently shared with me that he started a new job, and every conversation with all of the members of his team began the following way. What high school did you go to? He found it offensive because he's almost 60, and high school was decades away. We have to help individuals within groups and within teams learn how to talk about each other, learn how to talk and get to know each other as well. Here's another law and best practice. Be a catalyst. Catalysts are the ones who are able to look ahead at the vision and inspire others to take action. Most importantly, they have a chemistry and an approach that help others feel safe and in turn improves the overall communication within the group. The catalyst doesn't have to be the designated team leader, but it matters to have someone who knows when issues arise and individuals can turn to that person and talk with them openly and in a safe space. Here's one that we should all practice. No gossiping. There's an old story that spreading gossip equates to spreading feathers. It is easy to scatter feathers and spread rumors, but impossible to collect and gather them back. Beloved, gossip erodes trust, and it is often the cause of the sour grapes and bad relationships. It is important to address individuals who engage in gossip head on and ensure that there is a zero tolerance for spreading lies and rumors within our organizations. Number 10, develop and truly value talent. Today's workers are not going to stay in an organization and in structures where they are not valued. In other words, you can find talent, but can you keep that talent? To develop a winning team and group, you must be willing to invest in developing the talent and expertise of everyone, not only your managers and your leaders. There is more than just the role. It is a deep commitment to understanding what is the passion of the individual and also ensuring that the person gets the training needed to learn new skills and that there's a true path in the organization for growth and moving ahead. Our current culture within the workplace, our schools, organizations, and even our religious institutions are not spaces where individuals and groups are truly thriving. Someone once said that doing the same thing and expecting a different result is insanity. Beloved, if we don't decide to fundamentally invest in teams, teamwork, and developing leaders who can let go of their egos, we're not going to move forward as a society. I want us to have a contagious excitement and enthusiasm for working together. I want you to be the catalyst on your team. And as Gandhi noted, be the change that we want to see in this world. Remember, to become an effective team, everyone on the team must know their role, be willing to let go of agendas, and say that this is new to me, and how do we go about getting to our goals together. Don't worry about who gets the credit. The price is the price. Let's not ignore the sour grapes. Let's take time also to articulate our shared values and develop voice. Most importantly, We must promote and value diversity, take risks to be a catalyst, and let's never engage in gossiping. And finally, let's take the time and the resources needed to develop and value our talent. As always, I love you for watching, and I invite you to check out one of our previous episodes as we come together as a community of warriors to turn the corners of life with grace and humility. Beloved, saying thanks is not the same as giving thanks, and I give thanks for you.
I just want to say kudos because when we do labs, right, it's been part of the Chaplain Waters culture, and so we know that everyone has been doing it, but to keep it and to sustain it, because sometimes you get the win and then you give up the structures, right, because you think, okay, yeah, the kids are moving now and they are raising their hand, but you've held true to the structure. So we see the code calling, we see the fact that the tasks are well organized, and the other piece in terms of, I remember where we started and now, the work is now in the notebook. Yeah. So that's a big win by way of the writing, right? And now moving away from the copies and things like that. So great job, excellent job with it. I was really honored and it was a really excellent job as Melton and also Ms. Hutchinson. I want to make sure that I kind of mentioned her as well.
Really excellent, because a lot of teachers think that third grade is too soon to have them writing.
Yeah.
And you look in these notebooks and they're all writing.
The entire notebook is filled. Every single, there's no kid without
and
writing.
they block it off, they organize it, I mean, these are important skills. I mean, even my college students, some of them, they've never learned this and they're not successful.
They know the glossary, is where the important words are, like they're
right.
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful. It is a really hard one, and it's a powerful one because you get a chance to really see the problem-solving strategies, and to really, you can act it out, you can draw a picture, you can use objects, you can graph it, right? So this is a task you can do in 12th grade. This is a task you could do at the college level. And so to be able to really take the risk and to empower your students with it.
I was scared for them, because I was afraid that they would give up, but they didn't.
They did not.
And I was so happy that even when there were mistakes, like we were saying, like you were so many different strategies and skills came out. Like multiplication, dividing, adding, like everything, estimating, like everything happened, and I was happy that there were no cricket. Nobody just stood there.
Perseverance on all
everybody
tried. And even at the beginning, they started out with what would another student find difficult.
As they were saying.
And it was, a lot of them wrote very generic kind of things. And I was thinking, okay, now where is this going to go? How is this helpful?
Right.
Well, that's moving forward.
But it gave them a start.
Yeah.
It gave them a way to dip their toe into it.
They know that bothers me sometimes, because sometimes it's very generic. Like some of them the night before might start writing like, is this a multi-step problem?
Exactly. Some of them did that
or their keywords.
too.
So I tell them, like, it needs to be authentic. Like, look at the question. Really, what do we need to solve this problem? What might be difficult? What's in there? But often, sometimes
that's why
important.
we do the probing protocol, right? That's why we have all 4 questions, because oftentimes in math classrooms, it's just here's the task, and the kid starts it, and that's it. So when you probe, right, you scratch first the surface, and then you go deeper. And so it's an honoring to say yes, right? Okay.